And welcome back, everyone. Decided to actually do something like I did with the Pokemon videos to pre-record the what if for today for tomorrow. You know what I meant. So, to the next day's video for today, just to get it out of the way, just so it'll be up early, and that way, really, all I'll have to focus on tomorrow is the box office when it comes out. And this one comes. Oh, what am I talking about? This one comes to us. We're on part 4 now. Part 4 of What If Naruto left the village to Sasuke. Last time in Naruto What If, we had what I thought was a pretty good cliffhanger with Naruto showing up at Azuma's funeral, and everyone would just be like, "What, Naruto?" And we had him training with Tamari for a little bit. He does have his own fan now, so because he trained in more Winjutsu with her as he was hanging out in the Sand Village. But his is a bit different. I styled it basically something more akin to what Madara's fan is, but more just in the design when it's folded up. Basically like a straight sword, kind of like Sasuke's. Oh God, was it a kusagari? Is that what they called it? It was a straight sword. It was not even a katana. It's like a straight sword. But it's made of metal, so it doesn't have a blade. Well, I think I said I designed it where it kind of had a blade on it. So when it's folded up, it is a sword. But Naruto just unhooks a latch, opens the fan, and just gusts it and does jutsu with that. I like that idea, so and I did that on the fly, admittedly, but I really liked it when I said it out loud. Anyway, we now cut to basically everyone there is like, it's Naruto, and so he's here, and then Naruto hears here's some of the other people like that it's him, it's him, the 9-tailed fox, and then Naruto hears it, yeah, I should have figured this was gonna happen, but he's grown enough to be like, all right, I'm back. I'm gonna at least stay back for at least until we get the Akatsuki thing handled. And then who knows? Maybe I'll leave again, and this time with permission, all that. And and all his friends like Naruto, and hey, how you doing? It really has been a while. You definitely aren't short stuff anymore. Yeah, good to see you too, Kiba. And surprisingly, he sees Hinata, which he remembers what Jiraiya told him that Hinata was devastated apparently, and he still hasn't picked up quite yet that she has a thing for him, that she has feelings for him, but he does feel bad about it, and feel bad about doing that to her, and he does kind of want to know why she was so devastated about it. So he kind of looks like, hi Nada, it's nice to see you. And she just kind of blushes a little bit, and so this is where I actually think Hinata is a bit different as a character. And what I mean by that is that Naruto left under different circumstances than the original. This Naruto left to go train, and everyone knew about it, and few people were there to send him off. Hinata was not among them, sadly. But here, the reason he left was different, and the reason he left ultimately got around to everyone, and she just felt so sorry for him. So here, I actually think Hinata, after all those years, and Naruto actually coming back, and I don't think the fact she loved him ever changed. She eventually, she just kind of looks at him a little bit. It's like, Naruto, and she actually rushes him and just gives him a hug. It's like, it's so good. I'm so glad you're back. And Naruto is like, whoa, it's like dumbfounded, but like, yeah, it's, I gotta admit, if stuff like this happens, I might stick around longer. He jokes around, and this causes her to blush a little bit as she realizes what she did. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, no, that's okay. I like hugs. And he's even a little awkward by that. It's like, well, that was something that happened, and he was probably like, oh, someone's getting bold. And then he sees his team, Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura, and before he actually has any, I think I made a joke that they kind of say, well, you're still getting, it looks like you made Jonin, did you, Sasuke? I made a joke that happened, but here I think that's kind of like something that happens a little later on. Before he can interact with his team, some Ambu show up. It's like, Naruto Uzumaki, Lady Okage would like to word with you in her office. We've been sent to escort you. And Naruto's like, I figured this was going to happen, but but thanks for giving me the time to pay my respects. Of course. And then it's like, come with us. It's like, right. Jiraiya goes with him. Oh, don't worry, I'm going with him. It's like, it's like Kakashi, Sasuke, Sakura, you're with me also. You are part of his team. It's like, well, what if, and Sai would go with him anyway, because Team 7 is kind of basically called with him. And Danzo would make sure it's like, the fox brought us back. Good. Go and keep surveillance. Actually, I remember. I commented that I don't like his dub voice. Because that's the thing. I always picture Danzo's dub voice as something akin to this. Or at least something a bit like an older version of something akin to this. But instead it's, something more like that. I'm like, that didn't kind of meld with what I heard in my head when I read the manga. Anyway, so Naruto gets there, and, Tsunade is also at the funeral mentally, so, she takes her time, she gets there, and she's there before he gets in, and Jiraiya and Sasuke, and, Team 7's there, and Tsunade's just looking at him, and Naruto's just waiting for, waiting for the beret of was it braiding? Basically waiting for the cavalcade of, verbal, the verbal onslaught to commence. But, she's looking at, he's just waiting, and he's just just kind of looking down a little bit. He's not looking depressed or really regretful that much. Because he feels like this is something he actually had to do, see the world a little bit, actually train legitimately, and just be away from the village for a while. And this has actually done wonders for his maturity as well. And she looks at him, and she's like, it's just finally tells I'm not going to pretend like I'm not pissed at you, brat. You go through all the trouble to get me to the village, convince me to be Hokage, involve me all the way, but then you go off and abandon the village on your own merit. You know how that makes me feel? It makes you feel like a fool. I'm a fool for trusting someone like that. And Naruto's feeling a little bad. Now it's but he's being quiet. But I can't say I don't understand. When Jiraiya told me why you left, I can't say I didn't understand. After everything this village has put you through, hindsight being 2020, I'm surprised you didn't abandon the village years ago. And more importantly, you ultimately came back. I'm not going to say that you're going unpunished, but I will say your punishment will be lenient for the time being. I assume, though, that hopefully you're planning to stay this time. Correct? And Naruto, he's going to be a little coy here. He does want to stay, but at the same time, it's the same thing where it's if the village is going to treat him badly again, is it really worth it? Fortunately, though, times have changed. He's grown up a bit more. It was clear when he met. He also got the feeling that people actually missed him clearly. So he does say, "I'll stay as long as I need to. I'll stay for as long as needed, Lady Hokage." And she's like, really? Well, at least you matured a little bit to not call me Granny anymore. Hey, you gotta show some respect sometime, Grandma. It's you. Doesn't mean I gotta show it all the time. He's and surprised, she's like, I actually missed that. All right. For your given what Jiraiya told me about your skill level, and from what I can tell, you've been training a little bit in the sand since then. And so Jiraiya knows, and she points to the fans, oh yeah, I did kind of pick up a few things there. It's normally, basically, your skill rank is probably somewhere in that of Jonin. However, your punishment is going to be that you're going to be staying at the rank again and won't be able to take the next tuning exams. You'll have to wait for the next one. Beyond that, it's wait, what? Should also note that everyone among your peers is at least Chunin, and Neji and Sasuke have both reached Jonin. What? It's huh? It's yeah, that's right. That's right, Dweeb. It's that's fair. and they're all happy. There is, however, the one other matter. And Naruto, Team 7. What about, what? I can't join Team 7? It's not that you can't. It's that your position had to be filled while you were gone. This is Sai. He's a member of the Foundation under the leadership of Danzo. And now Naruto, even despite, all the conversations he's had with Jiraiya now at this point, doesn't really know much about the Root. I can't imagine Root would have any reason to come up in conversation. He didn't know anything about that in the original, so why? But anyway, so, it's oh, well, nice to meet you. Yeah, you don't really look very strong. Are you a girl? It's Naruto's what? Well, what kind of greeting is that? Sasuke and Sakura immediately just don't worry about him. He's a little awkward. So, I was right. Anyway, it's good to see you. It's good to see you too, Sakura. I was and I debated whether or not to. I debated on how Sakura was going to basically greet Naruto. Part of me was really tempted to have her throw a punch at him for doing that, but I have a feeling that even though Sakura definitely did that later on, still in Shippuden she would do that. Although she did, I'll give her credit. She didn't do it anywhere near as much. One of the few things that growth her character really did is she did not pound on Naruto as much. When you really think about it, she really did not beat on him that often. Compared to the original series where she did that all the time. No, but I think this is a Sakura who's matured up a bit, who's still apprenticed under Tsunade, and still quite skilled, and ultimately, feels bad for the way she kind of, had treated Naruto in terms of her friendship with him. Naruto at this point also has well since gotten over his crush from Sakura. I think he just came to realize she wasn't really interested in him that way. And it's like, yeah, it's good to see you there. And she also does what Hinata does. She actually goes in and just gives him a, although it's not the rush hug where Hinata's like, he's back. It's more like, it's good to see you again. It's like, it's good to see you too, Sakura. Kakashi comes to put his shoulder on him, and Sasuke just gives him a smile. It's like, and Tsunade has to gives a smile as well. Sai's just confused about what's going on. So we still though, Naruto, we should know what you've learned since you've been gone. Since you've been gone. So how about a spar for old time's sake? It's like, yeah. Now that I'm down for, Naruto's just got a cheeky grizz. Then that I'm down for. How about a rematch? How about a rematch from that match we had on the rooftop of the hospital? Sasuke, you ready for that? I'm pretty sure that's where I still had that match. Yeah, actually no, I would have. That's because it took place well before this even started. It's training ground very well. Training ground 7 in an hour, and so he goes, and then and then everyone hears about this. Like all the rookie 12. Including like Neji, like everyone who's available, which luckily I think would be close to everyone there. At least at the timing of this, goes to actually see this. Even Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino, despite Sensei preparing to go out and fight Hidan and Kakuzu, do want to see this. Now we'll go into a big in-depth fight. We'll get more into that like in other fights. But Naruto and Sasuke's also got a sword at this point. They clash. He brings out the fan. Sasuke brings out the sword. Sasuke's a little more skilled with the sword because Naruto, while he knows how to use it as a blade, is still learning to use it like a blade. He's not skilled enough in swordsmanship to really match someone who is. At least not any legitimate fashion, though he can hold his own. And Sasuke Sharingan them is not making it easy. But what Sasuke forgot is that it's actually it's not a blade. It's just a fan with axe doubles as a sword. And so in the melee, as Naruto comes in to swing again, and Sasuke comes in, she flips it, and Sasuke crap, and just a giant wind scythe not wind scythe, but a great breakthrough from his friend comes in and just blasts him back. And then Naruto just like fire style, fireball jutsu, fire style, fire phoenix, fire dragon, fire jutsu. And they're like, Naruto does fire jutsu now? And they clash, and it overpowers Sasuke. Sasuke, though, does know shadow clones now from Kakashi, albeit not anywhere near the extent Naruto can. It's like, you copy my moves, I copy yours. It's like, bring it on! And they clash. They're actually having a really good time. They're actually having a lot of fun with it, clashing each other. It's like, well, let's see if you really have gotten stronger. And he just, gets the Chidori ready. And before anyone can get in, Naruto goes, "Don't worry, we're not going to kill each other, but we got to see if we can match it." And it's like, "If you ready?" And all of a sudden he gets a Rasengan, but he just forms the wind. And Kakashi sees this and he goes, He did what? Did he do that? And all of a sudden it's a Wind Rasengan, and they clash, and wind beats lightning, and we know a regular Rasengan can't match the Wind Rasengan, so they clash, and Sasuke gets and his hand's messed up a little bit. It's like, oh crap, sorry about that. It's like, Sasuke, I'm coming. It's like, and I guess technically Naruto wins. Before Sasuke's like, no, don't worry about it, Sakura, and he poofs out of existence, and Sasuke shows up behind Naruto again, who then blocks with his fan with the kunai, and they basically clash, and they call it a draw for the time being. Not showcasing everything they have, but still a lot. So we get now to the whole Hidan Kakuzu fight, and Kakashi goes and Naruto I think actually still stays back and practices with the Wind Rasengan, and admittedly he's close to it, but because he remembers what happens when he uses like the tornado fist with it. So I still think that amount of time is dedicated to training with it, but it takes less time because he has already got the Wind Rasengan down. And so Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura show up at the same time to save them. Naruto stares down the Kakuzu, And he immediately goes into standard Fox mode, and just for extra chakra. We actually see that, I believe, in the actual canon. That's what happened. And granted, his eyes were slit, but I think they were blue. And Naruto, he makes a clone to be sure. He makes a clone for the extra chakra instead. Turns to the Rasen and Shuriken, and they clash again. This time, however, because he was able to practice it, he maintained it for longer, and he basically he does exactly what he does to Kakuzu. Unfortunately, he realizes he can't hold it, but he remembers again the Tornado Fist, so for the future he'll work on that, and should he get Sage Mode, which he very well might, he will be able to throw it. So this actually really just speeds us along now to the whole Itachi Sasuke issue. Obviously, Jiraiya goes to the village in the rain to go find Pain and Konan, and that goes down the same. But what happens with the Sasuke Itachi thing? Well, when Sasuke's in the village, assuming he's not in a relationship, when he's in a relationship, I always like that out like a scene where he's with whoever his lover is at the time. He's like standing looking over a balcony of his clan compound, or he wakes up in the middle of the night, sees the woman he's with, smiles, and she's sleeping, and he's feeling like he's lucky, and then Itachi comes. Or if he's by himself, which right now we haven't set up anything that he's in a relationship, then Itachi just sends the message. And just as Sasuke vowed to help him with the Akatsuki, Naruto vowed to help him with Itachi. That was Naruto's vow to him. Later on, he made a vow to help him. At least in this version, I think he would. So that leads us to him, I think this time, actually letting the Hokage and everyone know. And I think what's going to happen is Sasuke sends a clone along at first, but Itachi sees through it, and he knows he would see through it. But it's really to buy time to allow the Bleach Ninja to follow him and help him out. And difference is, Toby, you're going to get Obito here, but you also have Kisame blocking the way. And the question is, do they get past Obito at all? Well, they really weren't able to begin with. Unfortunately, that still stays the same. So Sasuke is still on his own. However, Naruto is smart enough, I think, in this version to actually basically, when Shino basically attacks with the bugs, he and Obito has to basically save himself. He can't see or sense anything at that time. I think that's when Naruto also sends a mass amount of clones at both Obito and out in general. In fact, actually, you could make the argument Naruto makes sure he goes out. And it comes across Kisame. And Kasame's just like, oh, this has got to be my lucky day. It's like, damn it. And luckily, Naruto's with a few clones as well. He immediately goes into One Tail because, okay, I'm going to need everything I can. Ooh, that's just the tasty chakra you got there, kid. Samahara's been hungry for some of that Bijou chakra. Come on. And Naruto's like, he remembers that sword because he interacted with Kisame back in the day. It's like, that thing can suck out all my chakra. I can't use it. So, even Rasen and Shuriken, everything he's got is just kind of, unless he had Senjutsu, which I think could, turn Samahara to stone. He's kind of shit out of luck against this guy. Except, there is one thing he does have, as Kisame comes in, Naruto just, reinforces as best he can his blades. Like, oh, you picked up a weapon too, really? What's that little blade gonna do? And then all of a sudden, Naruto's channeling both the Fox's chakra, Fire chakra, and Wind chakra into, the blade. Just like, all of a sudden, he just opens up. He's like, a fan? This! Fire style! Scorched Earth Jutsu! Fox style! And just, boom! And, even though Kisame can absorb chakra, he can't absorb all of that. Like, point blank range, a firestorm in your face, just, his face like, all of a sudden Kasame's like, a bunch of clones are holding on to Samahara and him. It's like, can't hit me with that if you can't swing. It's like, but unfortunately Kasame is pretty powerful, so he's able to lift up Naruto, but that's still a lot of weight, and they're holding him down with Fox chakra. He's able to barely kind of edge Samahara, who can move on its own, to get some of the chakra out of there, only for him to hear fire style, and all of a sudden, Nova Rasengan! And basically what he does is, this is his other version of the Rasengan now, with the Rasen Shuriken. Apart from the Rasen Shuriken, is think of a Great Ball Rasengan. Really, that's what it is. It's a giant Rasengan that is essentially a sun. And there's so much heated chakra that it's actually burning Naruto's hand by using it. Luckily, the Fox chakra helped negate that. But basically, then he just fires it off with a gale. Well, what I actually think about is this: it ends up being like a supernova. But he condenses it down is what he does. Basically, what I like to think of it is like when Jiren attacked Goku with, or tried to with that attack. And basically, he just uses the Gale Palm, just hurl it. And it just, like the Rasengan and Rasen Shuriken, it expands in a giant dome. But unlike the Rasen Shuriken, which tore up at your opponent, this expands in just a supernova. And crap! And he just, boom! Fortunately, that's when he basically just turns Samahada, and it absorbs a good chunk of it. But he's actually he's missing an arm now. He's singed, and now he can't see the Naruto that attacks him. Oh crap! And he sees one of the clones, or what he thinks is at least one of the clones. There's like, oh crap! Did your real body get past me? Wouldn't you no douchebag? It's like, damn it! This isn't good. And so, and he's missing an arm. He's like, and he's like, I gotta say that was a pretty impressive attack, kid. And so Naruto's beelining it for Sasuke, where he can see Kirin out in the distance. And, it's seeing it fall down, drop, and then obviously we're hitting the point now where Susanoo comes into play. Now, I do think Sasuke at this point, unfortunately, has the curse mark activated. There's nothing he can really do. I don't think, though, you're going to see Orochimaru's influence out of him, because Orochimaru's not dead at this point, and he's not absorbed into Sasuke. That's really why Orochimaru was able to come back out and resurrect himself, technically. So, in fact, we should actually, before we get to the end of this, because that's pretty much where we're going to end, is how the Itachi thing is resolved. What has happened with Orochimaru and Kabuto? Well, honestly, they're not much. They have not been able to, they didn't get Sasuke, unfortunately. So Orochimaru has had to sell for a different body. I always like the idea that if he has to, he'll take Suigetsu's body. In this version, probably not. They probably have had time to just, have other bodies lined up, valuable for him. And they're kind of just doing their thing, buying their time for Sasuke and whatnot. Will they play a part with the Akatsuki later on? Quite possibly. But right now, there's no real clip. They really have no need to be involved with the Akatsuki. And so, Sasuke can't stop the Susanoo. And just mine. It's mine. All of a sudden, as he's about to attack, what he's about to do is do the whole boop. But what he does, all of a sudden, ninja wire actually wraps around the Susanoo. He's still covered in that by the time he gets near Sasuke. And all of a sudden, almost a dozen tagged seals are stuck on the ground attached to ninja wire. And the Susanoo's chakra is just being sucked into them. It's like, ninja art! The ninja art, I don't know what I'd call it. I said a dozen, so let's call it 12 12 siphon seal. Let's call it that. 12 talisman seal. That's not bad. And basically, he's using a chakra seal, kind of like what Jiraiya taught. Like I mentioned, that he learned some sealing jutsu, and sealing chakra is one of the things he's picked up. And so he's basically draining the chakra through the ninja wire, and it's like, Naruto, you can't. So you came from my brother after all. I would never abandon my friend, no matter what. He's about as close to a brother as I have, and I'll do everything I can to save him. Unlike you. And Tachi just kind of wide-eyed a little bit and just kind of smiles like, you really did find good friends, brother. I'm sorry, Sasuke. And, he just falls down dead. Now, the question at hand is, what happens here? It's like, Naruto says, I got you, man, I got you. So I do think they actually take Itachi by. I do think he has the capability of sealing a body away, which really, when you think about it, that just takes a certain amount of chakra and, writing the right matrix, which for storage sealing really isn't that hard. It's about sealing a tail beast in a person. It's a little bit harder. But yeah, that's not too difficult. And so they basically have to get out of there while they can before Amaterasu burns the place down. And Zetsu sees this. And he's like, it's like Obito. He's not gonna like this. And so, once once they get back, and Zetsu's like, so the fight's over. Yes, it was quite impressive. Although there's a bit of a hiccup. He's like, what do you mean a bit of a hiccup? I was like, yeah, Sasuke. Naruto came and was able to say, what do you mean, Wait, and then he realizes because he didn't stop to think about it the whole time. He's been distracted. He was like, he realizes the Naruto in front of him was like, poof, a shadow clone. But when did he? And he realizes that he couldn't see when the bug's like, that little fox brat. No matter. The plan will have to just be adjusted for now. They also took Itachi's body. And say, damn you, Naruto. And until again, Leaf Village. Or Leaf Knit. And so he disappears. And ultimately, he disappears. And Sasuke and Naruto, being, carried, show up to where the Leaf Knit are. It's like, yeah, you brought him. It's like, yeah, we got him. And so, and we'll get this to the Lady Tsunade, or Lady Hokage later. And it's Itachi's body. It's like, I see. Thank you, Naruto. And so they head off. The day is shade, but for how long? Because sad tidings are going to be on the horizon for Naruto. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching. See you later.